Hey guys, so today we filmed a contouring tutorial.
And we did two perspectives, cream contour and powder contour.
I did the cream contour.
And I did the powder.
So stay tuned, keep on watching to see how we did it.
Alright, so first we're going to start with primer, and we're both using the same primer. And then foundation next, and we're using the same foundation as well.
This is just so it's easier to compare, because if we use the same products, then we know it's the contour that we're comparing.
Exactly. So let's jump right into it. Now we're moving on to concealer. Usually I conceal and then contour. Some people do it reverse where they'll contour and then do their concealer. It's up to you how you want to do it.
What she said.
We're both using LA Girls Pro Concealer.
So now we're just going to set our highlight. We're going to use the Kat Von D Lock-It Setting Powder. This is the translucent one. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the most important part, which is the contour. So I'm going to be doing a cream contour.
And I'll be doing a powder one.
So basically to start, the prepping is the same obviously, that's why I use the same products throughout, but the techniques, the brushes, etc. that you use are gonna differ. Both of them are pretty versatile, so when you're working with them, you can get a dramatic contour with your powder, you can get a dramatic cream, and also subtle, you know, the whole shebang.
So with contouring, the most basic part is that you need to find a contouring shade that's a few shades darker than your skin.
And you guys are probably listening to this and you're like, oh my god, obviously it has to be darker. But like, there's a limit is what we mean.
I would stick to something a few shades darker than my skin tone because the darker you go, the more unnatural it starts to look, and it's not going to be like a subtle, like your face won't look sculpted, it will look like you definitely like...
Yeah, because guys, remember contouring, it's supposed to imitate your natural like bone structure. It's not supposed to be like, oh, a huge black line. Just always remember, we'll show it in this video, but go for the natural contour, and if you still want that color in your face, just add a bronzer and that will like give you your life back, you know?
So in terms of products, I'll be using NYX's Contour Palette.
And I will be using NYX's Full Coverage Concealer in the shade Espresso.
Now they also have, this is powder, but they also do have cream contour and highlighting palettes as well, so you could use that as well.
Yeah, I just prefer to use concealer just because I already know like what I'm looking for, etc. So I just know this always works for me.
Because a lot of times with palettes like these, you find that you use a lot of shades, and then others you won't. So like you can tell, I use this shade. No wait, I use this shade a lot, and then like the rest I don't use as much.
The top never even been touched.
Yeah, the top I've never really even used them, right? So certainly a lot more cost effective for you to just stick to one color, but that's of course after you find what color works for you.
Exactly. These are the two brushes that I start with. This is the Real Techniques concealer brush, I believe, and this is the BH Cosmetics contour brush.
And I'll be using these two brushes here. This is Real Techniques' contour brush. This is a NYX brush in number 2, and it's a flat powder brush. And this is NYX's brush in the color number 2. It's like a
color.
And this is
Stop. See, we're gonna draw lines on our cheekbones, forehead. Are we doing nose contour? Okay, nose, the tricky one. And yeah, that's about it for us.
And depending on your face shape, you're gonna draw the lines a lot differently. And I know that you see like a lot of contouring videos, it's usually like a line right here, a line right here, but that definitely depends on your face shape. So for somebody like me who has a bit of a longer face than she does, I'm gonna follow the one that you see the most often.
I have a round face, so I don't want my face to look any wider. I want it to look slimmer. if that makes sense. I'm gonna try to elongate my face basically, so I'll show you guys how I do that. Just gonna draw a line.
And now do the same using this brush. Draw in quotation marks. And of course that weird thing I'm doing to my lips, just so it stretches out my side of my face so I can see where my bone structure is, because I am following my bone structure.
Okay, so from myself, once I have this base down, since I'm trying to elongate my face and make it slimmer, I am gonna add a few more lines basically to the rest of my face.
Now as far as blending goes, I'll now switch over to this brush just to make sure that everything is like just not so harsh.
And I will switch over to this brush because it will keep the product nice and concentrated. The difference between a powder and a cream contour is that a cream contour does spread and it does go out, so sometimes you look funky, it looks wild. So that's why it's important to use a thinner brush, because it will keep it where you want it to be. And that way you do less cleanup after. For your nose contour, this one can be a bit tricky just because your nose is much smaller and it's much harder to know where you want everything to be placed. And in terms of whether you use a cream or powder contour, that vastly changes the type of tools that you use and the types of techniques that you use.
So for my powder contour, I'm using a fluffy blending brush. And what I did was I just got some of the color, I put it at the top of my nose, and then I drag it down, making sure that I don't put any additional product at the bottom of my nose because it's going to be too heavy of a look. The key to contouring your nose is making sure you blend and not using as much product as you would use on other areas of your face.
Exactly. The same thing goes for the cream contour. When you start, you want to have nice thin lines on your nose. You don't want them to be too thick, because remember, with a cream contour, it definitely spreads out more and it's a bit harder to control than your powder contour. And when blending it out, I suggest using a beauty blender because the beauty blender will soak up any excess product that you may have on your face. And like I said before, you don't want the contour to go all over your nose.
Yeah, so the key to any of this is blend, blend, blend.
Yes, if you don't blend it out well enough, it's gonna be obvious that there's two brown or black lines on the sides of your face. So it's like very important that you blend it out so it looks more natural. You guys know this.
So another important aspect when contouring, but you can skip this step altogether. So pretty much we're gonna clean up just underneath here, just so your contour is a little sharper, a little bolder, so you can just like see it a lot more.
And also because sometimes your contour does run below where your natural cheekbone structure is, so it helps with that as well.
So we're just going to leave that on our face for a few minutes. And one of the reasons why I prefer to powder contour over cream contour is that I can skip one step.
and that's setting it. So for the cream contour, you treat it just like any other concealer. You have to set it so it stays in place, doesn't move in case you sweat, you know, all that stuff. To set my contour, I'm just going to use one of the shades from the NYX contour palette, and I'm going to use the darkest one because it matches my concealer the best. And then after that, we're both going to bronze just to add some warmth to our faces.
This is MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Deep. So this is a completed look.
We hope you guys enjoyed the video. We hope it was informative and you learned a lot.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.